Forget the word YouTuber. Calling Jimmy Donaldson a YouTuber today is like calling Henry Ford a guy who liked cars, or Rockefeller an oil salesman. What we are witnessing isn't just a kid making funny videos on the internet, it is the construction, in real time, of one of the most efficient and terrifying media conglomerates in the history of modern capitalism. If MrBeast were a publicly traded company, he would be worth more than most of the cable television networks you grew up watching. We are talking about an empire valued at $5 billion, built by a young man in his early 20s, operating out of a warehouse in North Carolina. But the question Wall Street and Hollywood are asking themselves isn't how much does he make, but rather, how did he do it? How does someone become a billionaire by basing their business model on giving money away to other people? Today, we are going to tell the story of Beast Industries and reveal that behind the charity and the smiles, there is a cold, calculating, and brutally efficient money-making machine. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and leave a like on the video to help me grow on YouTube and earn a little money too, since I have to pay the editor. If you are new here, welcome to Money and Magnates. To understand the monster, you need to understand the hunger, and in this case, the hunger isn't a metaphor. Jimmy Donaldson was born in 1998 in Greenville, a city without glamour in North Carolina. He wasn't the popular kid, he wasn't the school athlete, and he definitely wasn't a natural academic genius. His adolescence was stolen by a brutal medical condition, Crohn's disease. It is a chronic, painful, and exhausting inflammatory bowel disease. While other teenagers were discovering the world, going to parties, or playing sports, Jimmy was losing 66 pounds, confined to his bed, feeling constant pain and lacking the energy to live in the real world. His room became his universe, and his laptop his window. He didn't watch YouTube as passive entertainment. He watched it as a survival mechanism and an object of study. At 13 years old, he created his first channel, MrBeast 6000, and we have to be honest here, it was a failure. For 5 years, he posted videos playing Minecraft, Call of Duty, and speculative videos trying to guess how much other YouTubers made. Nobody watched. He was invisible to the algorithm. But the illness gave him something most healthy people don't have: time and an absurd tolerance for monotony. He realized that if he couldn't win through talent or charisma because he considered himself awkward in front of the camera, he would win through data analysis. The turning point in Jimmy's life wasn't a viral video, it was a life decision. He tried college for exactly 2 weeks. He hated every second. When he told his mother he was dropping out to focus on YouTube, she, worried and disappointed, kicked him out of the house. Jimmy found himself alone, with no guaranteed roof over his head, no money, and an obsession. It was in this moment of desperation that he formed what is perhaps the most important group in internet history, the Mastermind Group. He found 4 other kids on the internet, all owners of small and irrelevant channels, and made a pact. They would meet on Skype and Discord every single day for 1,000 days in a row to study YouTube. This wasn't a club for friends, it was a reverse engineering laboratory. They treated YouTube not as an art platform, but as a code to be cracked. They analyzed every millimeter. If the thumbnail has a face with an open mouth, by what percentage does the click rate increase? If the image brightness goes from 20 to 30, does retention improve? What is the exact intonation to start a sentence? They watched videos frame by frame to understand where the audience gave up. They discovered mathematical patterns in human psychology that even the Google engineers in Mountain View couldn't explain. They understood that the human brain on the internet is predictable. It wants speed, it wants fast cuts, and it wants scale. It was from this forensic science that the first big success emerged in 2017. Jimmy didn't have the budget to blow things up or buy cars. What did he have? Time and suffering. He decided to sit in a plastic chair and count from 0 to 100,000. The video lasts more than 20 hours, but the recording took 40. By the end, he looks like a hostage. Deep, dark circles under his eyes, his voice failing, delirious with exhaustion. But when he hit upload, the world stopped to watch. Why? Because he proved a fundamental thesis of the attention economy. The public respects extreme effort. If you are willing to suffer for the audience rewards you with loyalty. That video wasn't content. It was a ritualistic sacrifice to the algorithm. From that point on, the switch flipped from content creator to capital allocator. Jimmy realized something nobody else saw. The money he earned from YouTube wasn't profit to buy a Ferrari or designer clothes. It was rocket fuel. He created a suicidal reinvestment cycle that terrified his accountants. When he got his first brand sponsorship worth $10,000, all the money he had in the world, he didn't save it. He filmed a video giving the $10,000 to a homeless person. The video exploded and generated $20,000. What did he do? He spent the $20,000 on the next video, then $100,000, then $1 million. The audience got addicted not to his personality, but to the financial scale. He monetized generosity. He turned philanthropy into a high-stakes sport. Other YouTubers tried to copy him, but they stopped when their bank accounts hurt. Jimmy didn't stop. He lived in a simple apartment, wore basketball shorts and old t-shirts, while moving millions of dollars a month just to feed the algorithm beast. He understood that to maintain the monopoly on attention, he needed to raise the stakes with every video. If he gave away a house today, he has to give away an island tomorrow. If he blew up a car today, he has to blow up a train tomorrow. It is a hedonic treadmill where stopping means dying. But Jimmy Donaldson's business genius truly shines when he decides to step off the screen and into the physical world. He understood that attention is an undervalued asset if you only sell it as AdSense ads. The real money lies in using that attention to sell physical products where the margins are real. In 2020, at the height of the pandemic, he launched MrBeast Burger, and this is a fascinating case study of innovation and logistical failure. The idea was brilliant. Instead of building restaurants, which is expensive and takes time, he would use the ghost kitchens model. He partnered with local pizzerias and diners that were idle because of the lockdown. In a single day, he opened 300 restaurants across the United States. The delivery app crashed. Miles of car lines formed. He sold millions of burgers without having a single stove or cook on his payroll. It seemed like the perfect business. Zero fixed costs, infinite scale. But it was here that Jimmy learned the hardest lesson of retail. You can't edit reality like you edit a video. In Premiere, if a scene looks bad, you cut it. In real life, if a third-party cook in Ohio fries a burger poorly and adds old lettuce, the customer receives garbage. The MrBeast Burger brand began to be flooded with criticism. Photos of raw meat, moldy buns, and wrong orders flooded Twitter. His reputation, built on the idea of quality and excess, was being destroyed by bad sandwiches. Jimmy, being the control freak that he is, couldn't stand it. He entered a public legal battle against the partner company, Virtual Dining Concepts, trying to shut down the very business he created. He realized that licensing his name was dangerous. If he wanted to be a real billionaire, he needed to own the factory, the recipe, and the quality control. From those ashes, the Golden Phoenix was born, Feastables. And Feastables isn't just another YouTuber product. It is a frontal, calculated, and violent attack against a 100-year-old duopoly, Hershey's and Mars. Continuing, Jimmy looked at the supermarket candy aisle and saw what nobody else saw: stagnation. Chocolate bars had been the same since World War II, full of unpronounceable ingredients and boring marketing. He decided to apply the algorithm logic to physical retail: scarcity, minimalist and eye-catching design, and aggressive gamification. He launched the chocolate with a real-life Willy Wonka campaign, placing golden tickets in the bars worth insane prizes like a real chocolate factory or a private island. He didn't ask Walmart and Target to sell his product. He used his audience of 300 million people to invade the stores and mess up the shelves, creating artificial demand until retailers had no choice but to stock the product. He turned his fans into a free sales army. The profit margin on chocolate is high. The logistics are infinitely simpler than burgers. Chocolate doesn't rot in 30 minutes, and the product is addictive. Today, Wall Street analysts estimate that the majority of Jimmy's personal fortune, which has already touched the billion-dollar mark on paper, no longer comes from the videos. It comes from the chocolate. The YouTube channel, which costs millions to operate, actually functions as a giant free commercial for his peanut butter bar. He created a sales funnel that Coca-Cola would kill for. He captures the attention of children and adults for 20 minutes, and at the end, sells a $5 product they can buy on the corner. It is the perfect conversion machine. But every empire has a cost, and the cost of the Beast Empire is human. Stories leaking out of Greenville, where he built his $100 million studio, paint a very different picture from the good guy we see on screen. Former employees describe Jimmy as a tyrannical boss who doesn't sleep, and worse, doesn't expect anyone else to sleep either. The company culture is described as a high-performance cult. If you aren't willing to dedicate your entire life to the channel, you are useless. Reports indicate that editors work 20 hours a day, producers are humiliated for tiny mistakes, and turnover is extremely high. Jimmy is known for firing people without blinking if he thinks they are slowing down the vision. He has an obsession with perfection that borders on pathology. To him, people are like cameras or lights, tools to achieve the final goal, which is the perfect video. This "the end justifies the means" mentality creates an incredible final product, but it leaves a trail of burnout and psychological trauma for those working behind the scenes. Furthermore, there is a deeper ethical controversy. Jimmy discovered that helping people gets a lot of views, but the way he does it raises dystopian questions. When he makes a video curing 1,000 blind people or giving away 1,000 hearing aids, he is, in practice, monetizing the failure of the healthcare system. He turns healing into entertainment. The thumbnail shows him with a shocked face holding a crying patient. The title screams numbers. Critics argue that this is exploitation. He uses the vulnerability of poor and sick people to profit millions, posing as a messiah. Does he solve the systemic problem of blindness? No. He solves the individual problem of 1,000 people in exchange for content. His defense is pragmatic. If I didn't make the video, they would still be blind. The profit from the video pays for more people's surgeries. It is a utilitarian argument that is hard to beat with logic, but it leaves a bitter taste in the mouth. Are we comfortable with a world where someone's health depends on them being viral content enough for a YouTuber? This thin line between benefactor and villain became clear in the Beast Games project, his historic $100 million partnership with Amazon to create the largest reality show in history. Leaked reports from the recordings described dangerous conditions, a lack of food and water for participants, untreated injuries, and a chaotic environment where human safety was sacrificed for the sake of the spectacle. It seemed that the Squid Game recreation he made on YouTube was becoming a reality. Desperate people humiliating themselves for money under the command of an untouchable director. Even with the controversies, the empire doesn't stop growing. Beast Industries today is valued at around $5 billion. Considering investment rounds and brand value, Jimmy Donaldson, in his early 20s, has more media power than CNN, Fox, and the BBC combined. He can launch a product and sell it out globally in 10 minutes. He can decide to build 100 wells in Africa and make local governments look incompetent. He is living proof that in the attention economy, morality is secondary to retention. Let's look toward the future, toward the landscape of 2026. MrBeast's model has changed the power structure of Hollywood. Traditional studio executives are terrified. Jimmy proved that you don't need unions, you don't need agents, you don't need approval from TV networks, and you don't need global release windows to have a massive hit. He is a sovereign creator. He has his own currency, attention, his own products, feastables, his own distribution, YouTube, X, TikTok, and even his own social welfare system, Beast Philanthropy. If he decides tomorrow that he wants to influence an election or crash a stock or promote a cryptocurrency, something he has wisely avoided so far, unlike many of his peers, the impact would be seismic. And unlike a CEO of a public company like Disney, who can be fired by the board if they mess up, nobody can fire MrBeast. He owns 100% of his image and maintains total voting control. There is no board of directors to say, Jimmy, stop. There is only Jimmy. But this absolute centralization is also the empire's greatest existential risk. The MrBeast brand is fundamentally Jimmy. Disney survived Walt Disney's death because it had Mickey, who is an immortal cartoon. MrBeast is flesh and blood. He ages. He gets tired. He has already spoken openly on podcasts about the mental drain, about having no social life, about the overwhelming pressure of having to outdo himself with every video. How do I top curing 1,000 blind people? Do I cure cancer? Do I buy a country? Infinite escalation is unsustainable. At some point, you hit the ceiling, and business history teaches us that empires built on the image of a single man tend to have brutal succession problems. If Jimmy has a burnout tomorrow and disappears, is the company worth zero? His strategy to avoid this seems to be the Disneyfication of his content. He is trying to create side characters, dubbing in other languages, animation channels. Feastables is the master key here. If Feastables becomes the new Coca-Cola, it survives without his face on the packaging 20 years from now. If it continues to be just the YouTuber's chocolate, it dies when his fame fades. The billion-dollar bet is to turn the audience into commodity consumers. If he can manage the complete transition from creator to consumer goods holding company, he will have done what no other influencer has done in history: escape the relevance trap. There is also a fascinating generational aspect. For those over 35, MrBeast is an irritating mystery or curiosity. For those under 20, he is more relevant than the President of the United States. He has shaped the sense of humor, the attention span, and the expectations of success for an entire generation. Kids today don't want to be astronauts. They want to be YouTubers. And they don't want to be just any YouTuber. They want to be be Jimmy. They learn from him that benevolence comes accompanied by cameras, that money solves everything, and that life is a series of challenges worth prizes. The long-term cultural impact of this is immeasurable. Are we creating a generation of mini-beasts obsessed with metrics, optimization, and spectacularized charity? Finally, it is worth reflecting on the loneliness at the top. Jimmy Donaldson achieved what he wanted. He hacked the code. He has the money, the fame, and the power. But in his most honest interviews, when the character's mask slips for a second, you see a young man who sacrificed everything that makes human life normal in exchange for digital numbers. There are no girlfriends that last, no hobbies outside of work, no unmonetized moments of silence. He lives in a golden prison that he built himself, brick by brick, video by video. The algorithm he masters also masters him. He cannot stop because the algorithm punishes the pause. He is the master of YouTube, but he is also its most dedicated slave. This is the tragedy and the glory of MrBeast. He won the game of modern capitalism so completely that he finished the game. And now he is there, at the top of the money mountain, looking down and asking, what is the next challenge? And the answer might be the only thing he can't buy, a legacy that survives the skip ad button. If you have watched this far, you are no longer a passive viewer. You now see the strings behind the puppet show. The world of Magnates isn't made of accidents, it is made of obsession. And the story of MrBeast is the definitive manual for this new era. The final question I leave for you is, would you buy the chocolate for the quality or just to be part of the show? Comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe here to Money and Magnates and be part of a future great success story. See you next time.